Welcome to this deep dive. We've got quite a range of sources today, all centered around healthcare quality.
That's right. We start pretty broad, looking at some of the big standard-setting bodies, global and national ones.
And the systems helping hospitals actually meet those standards.
But then, the material really zooms in. It focuses on a very specific and, frankly, really sensitive challenge.
Right, inside the intensive care unit, the whole issue around recording there.
Exactly. So our job today really is to unpack all that, pull out the key bits about how high standards get set and maintained in healthcare.
And then connect that to the messy reality, the day-to-day operational stuff, the ethical questions, especially somewhere like the ICU.
It's more than just rules, isn't it? It's about why they're there, how they impact actual patient care, patient safety.
Totally. It's about understanding the meaning behind it all. Okay, so let's dive in. Where do these sources start with the big players in setting standards?
They do. First one up is Joint Commission International, JCI. You've probably come across them.
Yeah, sounds familiar. The sources paint them as a real global leader, right?
Definitely. Like the gold standard for quality and safety worldwide. Their mission statement is pretty clear, too.
Which is?
Something like, to enable and affirm the highest standards of healthcare quality and patient safety for all. Quite a goal.
That's ambitious. And they're big, you said.
Huge. Operating in, over 70 countries. They've accredited or certified over 1,000 programs.
Wow.
And they've got like 600-plus experts involved. It's a massive effort to create that sort of universal benchmark for quality.
Okay, so how do they actually help hospitals reach that benchmark? What do they offer?
Well, they provide the framework, essentially, the tools. They develop these really rigorous international standards.
Like those patient safety goals? I think I've heard of those.
Exactly, the International Patient Safety Goals. They focus on preventing harm in critical areas. But JCI also has accreditation programs, for hospitals, obviously, but also specific clinical care stuff, sustainability, even telehealth now.
Telehealth. Interesting. So it's not just about the physical hospital building.
Not at all. And beyond accreditation, they do advisory work, training, they publish materials. It's all about spreading those best practices.
And for the hospitals, what's the benefit? Is it just about getting the certificate?
Well, the sources suggest it's much more than that. Accredited places report.
Yeah.
Better teamwork, apparently. A competitive advantage, too.
Community confidence. That makes sense.
Yeah, and better risk management, a stronger safety culture overall. The ultimate aim, they say, is zero harm and highly reliable care delivery. That's the North Star.
Zero harm. That's a high bar.
It is. And while JCI sets that global standard, the sources also mention national bodies doing similar work.
Ah, right. Like the NABH, National Accreditation Board for Hospitals and Healthcare Providers.
That's the one. Specifically mentioned as part of the Quality Council of India.
So NABH takes those kinds of principles and applies them, sets benchmarks specifically for the Indian health industry.
Exactly. You have the big international framework, then national groups like NABH making it relevant locally.
Okay, so we have the standard setters, but making it happen on the ground. That's complex.
Incredibly complex. And that's where the sources bring in another type of organization, the support system, you could say.
Yeah, they mentioned Supremedic Consultancy Private Limited. They sound like partners for hospital owners.
That's how they're presented, helping navigate all this complexity, support through different phases, including getting that NABH accreditation.
And the list of what they do, it's pretty long.
It really is. It shows you how much goes into a quality hospital. It's not just doctors and nurses.
Right. They list hospital design, planning, even recruiting staff.
Yeah, doctors, nurses, then implementing the quality systems themselves, that NABH support we mentioned, and business consulting too, operations, manpower.
It even mentions providing actual products, modular OTs, medical gas pipelines.
I saw that too. It covers the physical infrastructure, the equipment. It all has to meet certain standards for quality care.
Absolutely. And they even get involved in investment partnerships, helping strategize, taking equity sometimes.
Right, which just highlights that running a top-notch hospital is a business challenge as much as a clinical one. You need that financial and strategic side sorted, too.
It really paints a picture of how much hospitals juggle. And they mentioned a blog, HospiMatch, covering everything from finance to chronic disease.
Yeah, it shows the sheer breadth of topics hospitals need to stay on top of. Constant learning.
Okay, so we've got the landscape. Standards bodies like JCI and NABH, support partners like Supremedic. Now let's pivot to that specific challenge you mentioned earlier.
Right. This is where the sources get really focused on the ICU.
the intensive care unit,
Yeah,
and the specific problem of people recording things.
exactly. Recording in the ICU. It sounds simple, maybe, but the sources make it clear why it's such a thorny issue.
Why is it so problematic there?
Well, think about the environment. The
Yeah.
sources call it highly sensitive. Patients are, critically ill. Staff are doing life-saving care. It's intense.
Okay, yeah, you can see that.
And introducing recording, especially unauthorized recording, into that mix causes major problems. The sources flag several big concerns.
What's the first one?
Top of the list is patient privacy and dignity. Patients there are often incredibly vulnerable. They might be sedated, unconscious in compromising situations, recording them without consent. The sources are blunt. It's a violation of their rights. It impacts their dignity hugely.
And getting consent might be impossible sometimes.
Often impossible.
Yeah.
The don't examples are clear. Don't record without consent from the patient or family. Don't record people when they're vulnerable and can't really agree. It raises massive ethical and legal issues.
Which leads straight into the second point, I guess, legal and ethical issues.
Precisely. Recording without permission breaks confidentiality laws. They mention HIPAA, but it applies more broadly and just basic hospital rules.
And there are real consequences?
Oh, yeah. The sources talk about legal repercussions, fines, being asked to leave, and posting recordings online. That's a huge breach of privacy and ethics. Definitely on the don't list.
Makes sense. What else?
The impact on medical staff and operations. Think about the staff. They're under intense pressure, high stress,
Absolutely.
being recorded without their knowledge. Those sources say it's distracting, makes them uncomfortable, and can actually affect their ability to do their jobs effectively.
I can imagine. Trying to focus on saving a life with a camera potentially on you.
Exactly. So another don't is recording staff without permission or interrupting procedures to record. Patient care has to be the priority.
And they made that point about even a few seconds of recording potentially causing harm.
Yes. Recording even a few seconds may compromise someone else's safety. That really underscores the stakes. It's not trivial.
It really does. So the core message is focus on the patient, not the phone.
Pretty much. The sources say the focus should be on support, not the camera.
Okay, so if recording is such a problem, what should people be doing instead? Families, visitors? What do the sources suggest?
They offer some very practical alternatives. First and foremost, for visitors, talk to the staff.
Just communicate directly.
Yeah. Ask for updates. Request a private consultation if you need more clarity. Build that trust. Respect the confidentiality side of things.
Instead of trying to capture proof on video or something.
Right. And they also suggest keeping your own notes, like a journal or log.
Oh, that's interesting. To track updates?
Yeah, track medical updates, treatments, questions you have. But also, they note, writing things down can actually help you process the emotions. It's a stressful place to be.
That's a good point. What about taking photos? Is that always bad?
The sources draw a line here. Recording medical procedures, no. But capturing moments of support, maybe.
Like what?
Like a photo holding a loved one's hand,
No.
celebrating that connection. And this is crucial only with patient consent, if possible, and if it follows hospital policy.
So check the rules first.
Always. The do examples are things like those connection photos, with permission policy followed, and asking before snapping pics of others in shared rooms.
And the don'ts are pretty clear.
Very. No photos, videos of procedures, no flash photography near monitors that can interfere with equipment, and definitely no live streaming or recording staff without asking.
Basic phone manners too, right? Silent mode, stepping out for calls.
Yep, all that standard etiquette. Ask the staff for their specific guidelines.
There was also that line about being present.
Yeah, take a mental image, be fully present instead of behind a screen. It's a reminder that maybe not everything needs to be documented digitally.
And that quote, some of the most powerful ICU moments are the ones only the heart captures.
That's quite poignant, isn't it?
It is. Okay, so that's for visitors. What about the hospitals? What can they do to manage this?
They have tools, too. One is having clear policies. The sources mention things like restricting mobile phone use in sensitive areas, ICUs, operating rooms specifically to prevent unauthorized recording.
Makes sense. What about consent for the hospital's own system? Sometimes hospitals record for quality, right?
That's a key point. The sources talk about obtaining informed consent, even for those systems. Maybe having sections in consent forms where patients can opt out of being recorded by the facility for training or quality improvement.
But again, that consent issue in emergencies.
Exactly. And needing caregiver consent sometimes. It's complex.
So If a hospital does use recording systems, how should they do it responsibly?
The guidance is clear. Use them mainly to improve the quality of care and train staff. That should be the primary goal.
Just surveillance.
Right. And ensuring data privacy is paramount, using recordings only for the specific reason they were made. They also mentioned preventing bias and having strong data privacy rules.
Okay. Any other hospital measures mentioned?
Briefly, yeah. Things like noise reduction and being careful with visual stimulation, basically, managing the overall environment for the patient and caregiver.
And oversight, making sure it's all done ethically.
Yes. Things like privacy audits by outside experts and having ethics review committees look at recording practices to ensure patient rights are protected.
It all seems to circle back to that core idea.
It does. The ICU is not a place for cameras. It's a place for presence, patience, and protection. That sums it up well.
So quite a journey we took there. We started way up high with the global standard setters, JCI, and the national ones like NABH.
Yeah, establishing that baseline for quality.
Then we saw how support partners, like Supreme Medic in the sources, help make those standards a reality on the ground, covering everything from building design to staffing.
The whole operational puzzle.
And then we dove deep into that really human, really sensitive space, the ICU, and saw how those big principles of quality, safety, ethics, they translate directly into guidelines about something as seemingly small as using a phone.
Protecting patients, supporting staff, maintaining trust, it all connects.
It really shows the links, doesn't it? From a global policy document down to a bedside interaction.
Absolutely.
And it does leave you thinking, we live in this age where everyone wants to document everything, share everything, be transparent.
The pressure's there.
But how do you balance that with this fundamental need for privacy, for trust, for just a focused healing space, especially in medicine's most critical moments? Where's that line between capturing a moment and protecting a vulnerable space? It's a tough one to navigate.